Like, Caitlin Clark spent 20 minutes signing autographs. She made her way 2/3 of the arena. She signed literally hundreds of autographs. And if you guys didn't see that game today, there were as many Fever fans as there were Sky fans.
What if the most dominant performance of the year happened entirely on the sidelines? What if the most powerful move in a modern sports rivalry wasn't a spectacular shot, a crucial block, or even a trash-talking word? Instead, it was an act of quiet confidence, performed in street clothes, that echoed louder than any buzzer beater ever could. On July 27th in Chicago, the stage was set for the next epic chapter in the most talked about rivalry in basketball, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. But when news broke that both superstars were unexpectedly sidelined with injuries, it felt like the main event was canceled. But what happened next would prove that the real game had just begun.
So once again, the god Caitlin Clark came and bricked Barbie's house, scraped her goofy ass even on her off day, and took over her arena signing autographs. You see, Black Clan, this is what the face of the league looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Caitlin Clark, everybody wanting to get a signature of the most electrifying woman in women's basketball, man. Bricklayer.
This was never going to be just another game. The matchup had been moved to the legendary United Center, the 20,000-seat cathedral that Michael Jordan built. This wasn't just a bigger venue, it was a statement. The demand to see Caitlin Clark play was so astronomical that the Chicago Sky's usual 10,000-seat arena simply couldn't contain the phenomenon. The building itself is sacred ground in basketball lore, a place where legacies are cemented. The move signified that a regular season WNBA game had become a must-see spectacle, all because of one player's incredible gravity. It was meant to be an invasion of Angel Reese's home turf, a showdown in the very heart of the city she proudly represents.
Happened to Miss Angel Reese. She's all in Indiana during All-Star, and her Reebok campaign, come to your trap, take over your trap. What happened to that? Because it looked like Caitlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city over. It looked like she took the city over. She took your trap over. Caitlin Clark, bro, it was more fans running. They was running down on Caitlin Clark like she was Michael Jordan.
With both stars officially ruled out just before the game, Clark with a groin strain, Reese with a back injury, the electric tension could have fizzled into mass disappointment. Fans had bought tickets months in advance, paying premium prices to witness this clash of titans. The narrative was set, the sharpshooting prodigy against the defiant hometown hero. Without its two main characters, the story felt incomplete. The air went out of the arena, but only for a moment. An unspoken anticipation lingered, a feeling that something else was about to unfold. The crowd wasn't just there for a basketball game anymore. They were there to witness a moment in history, and they were about to get a show they never expected.
And if Fever played the Chicago Sky on Barbie Night, of which Angel Reese was not in the game. She is who Barbie Night is pretty much named after, but she is out with a back injury. As a matter of fact, many of their players are out. Mariah Jefferson is out. Haley Van Lith is out. Again, Angel Reese is out. So this game, in my mind, was pretty much a lock. And I gotta say, it was not the funnest game. And the fact that the Chicago Sky even brought it back, they were just killing them by the first half.
Then the unthinkable happened. As players warmed up on the court, Caitlin Clark emerged from the tunnel, not in her Indiana Fever uniform, but in casual street clothes. She walked calmly toward the stands, a pen in her hand and a composed smile on her face. The crowd stirred, a wave of murmurs turning into a roar of excitement. She wasn't there to play, but she was there for them. This single act shifted the entire energy of the 20,000-seat arena. The focus was no longer on who was missing from the court, but on the superstar who was making her presence felt in a completely unexpected way.
Estoy bien nerviosa.
What followed was a masterclass in star power. This wasn't a quick token gesture of fan appreciation. For 20 consecutive minutes, Clark moved along the court's edge, signing autographs for a sea of outstretched hands. She signed jerseys, basketballs, hats, and scraps of paper with unrelenting grace. She made her way around 2/3 of the entire arena, and when security officials tried to gently guide her toward the locker room, she politely waved them off and kept going, determined to reach as many fans as possible. This wasn't just signing autographs, it was a quiet, deliberate conquest of enemy territory.
Later, you can never do this in Indiana or in any arena, because we don't come to see you, bricklaying sloth. Caitlin Clark is the official owner of Chicago, man. It's time that y'all build a Caitlin Clark statue in Chicago in front of the Chicago Sky Arena, man. Because Clark just comes over and takes over the arena with all the dozens and dozens of people, boys, girls, everybody wanting to see the god Caitlin Clark, ladies
But
and
the most
gentlemen.
shocking part wasn't the duration, it was the audience. The fans desperately reaching for her, their faces filled with awe, were not just visiting Fever supporters. A huge number of them were Chicago fans, wearing Chicago Sky colors in their own home arena, clamoring for a moment with their team's biggest rival. One fan was even seen trying to get Clark to sign Chicago Sky merchandise, a surreal moment of broken loyalties. In that instant, it became clear this was more than a rivalry. It was a cultural shift, where one player's magnetism was so powerful it could erase team affiliations and turn a hostile environment into a personal fan convention.
You was just on another level today, man. Oh my goodness. I'm talking about the hustle, the steal, the drive, the shot making, the making the threes. Fam, it was just really a dominant performance from her, man. Really looking like one of those superstars. All right, she looked like a pure superstar today, man. However you want to chalk it up. All right, had 35 points. 35 points.
While all of this was unfolding, Angel Reese was nowhere to be found. Presumably, she was somewhere in the back, dealing with the back injury that kept her off the court. One can only imagine the psychological weight of that moment. Her home city was treating her arch rival like visiting royalty. This wasn't just about losing a game she couldn't play in. It was a public and overwhelming challenge to her status as the face of Chicago basketball. It was a silent checkmate in their ongoing psychological war. A move so powerful because it required no physical action at all. Her absence,
Chicago
contrasted
Sky
with Clark's
getting their
powerful
asses blown
presence,
out
spoke
by
volumes.
40. It's just another shining example of the delusion that runs through the WNBA. Like, some players in the WNBA really truly believe that they play basketball on like skill on par level as men in the NBA. These women in the WNBA are a Bush League junior varsity high school basketball team. It would be one thing if like you're shooting and your shots just weren't falling and your percentage was just like low for the night. But this is just absolutely an embarrassing display of what is described as the best of the best level of basketball.
This moment was the culmination of a rivalry that has captivated the nation. It began with their iconic clash in the NCAA championship, a game defined by Reese's "you can't see me" gesture toward Clark, a move that instantly created a hero and villain narrative in the eyes of millions. The tension escalated in the WNBA, with on-court altercations and hard fouls from Reese's teammates fueling accusations that the Sky were a goon squad, sent to physically intimidate the rookie phenom. Every game between them felt personal, charged with an undercurrent of unresolved conflict. This night in Chicago, however, took the battle off the court and into the realm of pure influence.
And like, by the way, like, people didn't know whether or not Caitlin was playing that game until the very end. There are hundreds of fans that were there to see Caitlin Clark play on the on the off chance Caitlin Clark would be able to sign something. She was there. She spent like 20 minutes autographing everything. So here's Caitlin Clark signing autographs for 2 minutes 20 seconds. There are just a serious amount of fans. I don't even know, is that even just a towel? Like, it's very different. Like, they're showing up there. People are showing up just to witness Caitlin Clark. It's like she's the damn Beatles.
As Clark held court off the court, a different kind of storm was brewing on the hardwood. The game tipped off, and her team, the Indiana Fever, began to systematically dismantle the Chicago Sky. They played with a collective ferocity, as if fueled by their leader's silent display of dominance from the bench. The Fever closed the first quarter on a blistering 18-2 run, leaving the Sky looking stunned and disorganized. It was clear from the opening minutes that Indiana had come to Chicago not just to win, but to make a definitive statement on behalf of their sidelined star.
CC get treated like MJ in the rack. Oh my God. Caitlin Clark getting treated like Derrick Rose, Michael Jordan, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, all of them. Caitlin Clark took over Chicago. She signed autographs for hours. This wasn't no extras that was paid to come stand in the scene. No, these were real people trying to get autographs. And then we got Ice Cube bombing on Angel Reese, talking about, man, she's not worth the money that Caitlin Clark was worth. Caitlin Clark unlocked millions for the WNBA. Oh,
leading the charge was veteran guard Kelsey Mitchell, who played with the fire of a superstar unleashed. Mitchell erupted for a season-high 35 points, draining an incredible 7 3-pointers in a breathtaking display of offensive firepower. It was her 100th career 20-point game, a personal milestone that felt like a public service announcement to the league. She drove to the basket with purpose, hit shots from all over the floor, and played with a relentless hustle that demoralized the Sky. This wasn't just a player having a good night, it was a star seizing her moment in the spotlight.
Squad, everybody, Kelsey Mitchell dropping a 35-piece right on y'all domes. Aaliyah Boston out there Boston marketing. Michaela Timpson, our rookie, out there giving y'all the business. A Chicago Sky Goon Squad. When Bricklayer Reese plays, y'all lose. When the Sloth doesn't play, y'all lose. When Ariel Atkins plays, y'all lose. When she doesn't play, y'all lose. When Haley Van Lith plays, y'all lose. When she doesn't play, y'all lose. But ever since the Chicago Sky Goon Squad drafted Bricklayer, I spaced too far apart Reese, y'all ain't did shit.
Mitchell's performance was the ultimate manifestation of the Clark culture. Caitlin Clark's gravity is so immense that it elevates everyone around her. Her unselfish style of play and incredible court vision have transformed the Fever into a team that expects more from itself. Even from the bench, her presence created the space for others to shine. The Fever weren't just a one-woman show, they were a complete team, with players like Aaliyah Boston adding 14 points and 11 rebounds, proving their depth and resilience. They showed the world that the culture Clark helped build extends throughout the entire roster.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark, aka my precious CC. Angel, pray up, me bound Reese. I hope you listening. It looks like that line was for my precious CC. How she pulled up in your trap? Yeah, she brought the trap to your trap. What you mean? Yeah, everybody wanna my precious CC autograph. That's what I'm talking about. Who the biggest superstar? I'm waiting. Who the face of the league? I'm waiting. I know. Caitlin Clark is the Caitlin Clark effect. The CC effect. My precious CC, we here. She there. Real time, she injured. You hear me? She rehabbing. And everybody, hey, CC, hey, oh my God, you are amazing.
While the Fever thrived, the Chicago Sky completely crumbled under the pressure. Playing without their own star, they looked lost and rudderless. They shot a dismal 32% from the field and an abysmal 20% from three-point range. More damningly, they committed 23 turnovers, which the Fever ruthlessly converted into 31 punishing points. It was the kind of performance that makes you wonder if hearing your rival's name chanted by your own fans before the game creates an insurmountable psychological disadvantage. This wasn't just a loss, it was a public collapse in their own home.
Angel Reese is not injured, everybody. She's just trying to sit out because she sees Caitlin Clark sitting out, and Clark gets the attention with people saying, oh, the Fever play this way when Clark is playing, and then they play this way when she's not playing. So Bricklayer Reese is like, let me sit out too, so they can talk about how the Sky play when I'm playing and not playing, man. Because Clark lives rent-free in her empty-ass head. She tried to do everything that Clark does. We said we're watching women's basketball because of Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese gets up there and says, no, they're watching because of me too.
This silent power play in Chicago wasn't just a feeling. It was backed by staggering, undeniable numbers that prove Clark's impact is a force of nature. On television, her effect is revolutionary. Games featuring the Indiana Fever average over 1.1 million viewers, nearly triple the viewership for other WNBA games. She has single-handedly made the league a primetime attraction, bringing in millions of new eyes and elevating the profile of every player she competes against. Networks now build their schedules around her, treating every Fever game like a blockbuster event. The economic tsunami she has created is just as impressive. Her jersey is currently the second best-selling basketball jersey in America, not just for the WNBA, but in all of basketball, trailing only the legendary Stephen Curry. Her arrival sparked an unbelievable 1,000% year-over-year increase in WNBA player-specific merchandise sales. At the gate, her impact is just as clear. Fever games average nearly 17,000 fans in attendance, while games without them average just over 8,500. The Chicago game, held in a 20,000-seat arena, was simply the latest and most vivid example of this undeniable truth. This massive gap in influence wasn't just being noticed by fans, it was being valued in boardrooms. Enter Ice Cube, the rap icon and founder of the Big Three Basketball League. He made headlines by offering Caitlin Clark a staggering $5 million contract to play in his league, a historic offer that aimed to shatter the financial ceiling for female athletes. But when asked if he would extend a similar offer to Angel Reese, his response was telling. He acknowledged her talent, but was clear that from a business perspective, she wasn't on the same level for that kind of money yet. This added a cold, hard financial dimension to their rivalry, starkly illustrating the massive difference in their perceived market value. What happened that night in Chicago signifies a new form of dominance in sports. It's a power that isn't measured in points or rebounds, but in cultural currency. It's the ability to command attention, to drive conversations, and to alter the atmosphere of a 20,000-seat arena without taking a single step on the court. Caitlin Clark demonstrated that in the modern age of media and celebrity, a player's brand can be just as powerful as their crossover dribble. She didn't just win the night, she provided a blueprint for a new kind of stardom. The game ended with a decisive 93-78 victory for the Indiana Fever, but the real outcome was settled long before the final buzzer. It was written in those 20 minutes before tip-off, on the faces of Chicago fans who chose to worship a rival over supporting their own. It proved that some athletes are star players, while others are cultural phenomenons. One draws fans to a game, the other possesses a gravitational pull so strong it bends the entire sports world around them. And on a night she never even laced up her sneakers, Caitlin Clark proved to the world, and to her rival, exactly which one she is.